Okay, you guys, it's the Dr. Jason West program. Man, I've got a horrible echo. I'm sorry about that. Let me go fix this here. If you're just joining us, I got an echo I got to fix. All right, I'm sorry about that. If you couldn't hear me before, I really apologize. We had a difficulty with our thing. Man, I'm really sorry. We're going over natural treatments for metabolism. I just got to check and make sure. Jordan, can you hear me? Okay, so Jordan's helping. He's my helper. We're going to get into natural treatments for metabolism. And I'm sorry about the technology glitch. We're going to get after it. I hope you didn't hear me swear at the computer because that would be really embarrassing. It's not the computer's fault. So here we go. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to go over. We've got a free ebook, natural treatments for metabolism, especially at this time of year. I'm going to bring it up so that we can look at it and we can get right into it because there's so many different things that you can hear and you can do, and you can do these different things for this time of year. And so I'm going to get right into the metabolism slides. And here it is. So these are the natural treatments for metabolism. And we are going to go through these. If you can't pick this up live, remember you can see everything over on the metabolism link right here, drjasonwest.live. You can go there. You can get the free ebook. If you're a Thriver member, we're going to give you the book anyway. Don't worry about it. You're going to pick it up in your email. If you are watching this and you don't know what a Thriver member is, that's our inner circle where we do a whole bunch of things. Now, I have to do a little chuckle about this because I got one of the people that said, hey, what if you're chubby before the holidays started? Well, here's what I'm excited to share with you about that is it doesn't matter. The stuff that I'm going to share with you is good if you are worried about holiday weight gain, or if you have weight gain, or you have what I like to call stored energy. I like to get away from the F word, FAT. I try not to use that inside of the office. And so if you are overweight before the holidays, we want to make sure that you don't gain weight. If you are slim and trim and you're heading into the holidays, we want to make sure that you don't have any extra lateral expansion. And so here is some things that we're going to share with the presentation. So let's just start right here. Okay, metabolism tips, avoiding holiday weight gain. And of course, one of the biggest questions that I get asked about all the time is, what do you do mostly for too much stored energy or being overweight, but also if you have too little energy? So before we start talking about all of the different amino acids and stuff like that, I'm going to get this file up here. It's a book that I just finished, like literally just before the presentation, Just got to put it here. And this is our free ebook. It's 11 pages of different ideas and suggestions. And I'm going to bring it up right here and I'm going to start to reviewing. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is the metabolism recommendations. If you want the book that I've got for all you have to do is head over to drjasonwest.live. Let me get rid of these things. And then you can get this ebook that I put together on all of the different ways that we can help with metabolism. Now, this presentation is mostly for people that are storing energy. It's not for underweight. I'm going to do that a little bit later on. I think we've got it scheduled for January. And I got to tell my assistant before I forget, Jordan, will you help me to get that scheduled? The underweight protocol. Let's get it scheduled for like the second weekend of January so that we can help people. If you have too much, that's this presentation. If you got too little, we're going to go over that as well. So the first thing is I've been following a whole bunch of diets for 21 years. And when I say follow them, people come in all the time and they'll ask me about, what about the Atkins diet or the paleo diet or the keto diet or the Oprah diet or the watermelon diet, intermittent fasting, the carnivore diet. You know what? There's good literally in all of them, but I got to kind of tell you, like, the diets, they don't really that work that well. It's a lifestyle that works really well. And especially with this time of eating. And I want to do a shout out to Bright Line Eating. Man, I got to remember her name. I think it's Susan Nielsen. I probably slaughtered the name. That's the best program that I've seen out there. And I'm recommending it to patients all the time in the office, is what you can do for metabolism. And here's what I like so much about her. And I'm going to relate a personal experience to this, is because she's saying, you know what, there's tracks or these triggers for us to eat. Like, and here's a perfect example. I go to my mama's house and she makes the best thing for me on the planet, these caramel cinnamon rolls. And I'm telling her, Mom, you can't make the caramel cinnamon rolls because when I show up, I eat them. Now, in her mind, she's saying, if I don't make these, my son's not going to show up, which isn't the case. And then I walk in, I smell the cinnamon rolls, and immediately I start thinking, all these great childhood memories of Christmas, of Thanksgiving, 4th of July, New Year's at my house. This is what my mom always made. So my mom says, look, you're not going to be fat. Because I always tell her, no one's going to listen to a fat doctor, Mom. Like, you can't do this to me. And she'll say, listen, son, you just eat one. And you know what happens is when the whole tray is gone, then I stop eating. And so I've had to, the reason I tell that story is so many times people, like, we'd have these triggers that we aren't even aware of, that are enforced by the person giving the food and the person eating the food. So what I would like to bring to everybody's attention as we go through the book that I put together is, especially with the holiday eating tips and how to stay in shape. Like, you have the physical side here. Let me get this out of the way. And then we have the emotional side, and they go like this. And you know what? There's food that really, really helps to basically with emotions. So that's why you have comfort foods and you have comfort eatings. And on the flip side, there's sometimes people like, hey, you know what? I want to put my body in a little bit of stress so that I get a release of adrenaline and epinephrine. And this is a classic with a breakfast skipper person. You know, I've read a whole bunch of things. You should eat breakfast. You should not eat breakfast. But here's what my conclusion is. I think it's so important to fuel your body when you need energy. And then when you don't need energy, which is at night, like, that should not be your biggest meal. It should be opposite. It's kind of like running a piece of equipment, a tractor or a car or a motorcycle. Like, you don't put just a little bit of gas in and hope you make it. Like, you fill it up. That's what we should do. And people that skip breakfast, a lot of times they don't recognize what's happening is they're putting their body in a little bit of stress of epinephrine and adrenaline. And then what happens is they get this hormone release and you know, I feel better when I don't eat. Well, that's just because we're training the body inappropriately. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because inside of our book here, the one that I put together, okay, holiday binge tips, staying in shape. So this is kind of a funny thing. I started off the book as, what's more important to flying, the right wing or the left? The reason I say that is, which is more important, the physical component or the emotional component? And as the holidays start to come up, one of the things that is so, I guess, significant about that is we get together at the holidays and we have the relationships, and then it's always, you know, around a meal, or it's always around a party, or it's always around drinks, or in my case, you know, caramel cinnamon rolls and eggnog and, you know, alcohol and chocolates and candies. And what happens is, you know, a shout out to Benjamin Hardy, who wrote a book called Willpower Isn't Enough. And it's one of my favorite books because it talks about energy. So if your energy is high, then you don't have bad habits and addiction patterns. So if you're up here, life is really good, right? When we get tired, and Churchill said, you know, fatigue makes cowards of us all. If we get our energy levels down, then what happens is we're looking for a crunch, for a crutch. We need something, some caffeine. We need some sugar. We need, you know, an upper. We need an energy drink. We need, you know, a soda. We need coffee, like a cigarette, like all of these different things, because we're missing energy. So life and health and recovery from health and beating disease, we always talk about it. It's like it's energy. It's energy. So, all right. Getting that better. Okay, well, my team said, "Hey, it's Susan Thompson is the Bright Line Eating. Thank you so much for bringing that up, and I really appreciate that. That's my favorite recommendation. I don't have any vested interest in this. I don't have anything that you know. There's no kickback or anything. I just want people to know about it. I think it's the best program out there. Bright Line Eating, and let's see. I got to think of Paige's mom. Paige is the patient, and her mom told me about this book. I looked into it. It's awesome. Okay, so let's go into emotional and physical therapy, physical eating in the holidays. That's the right wing or the left wing. And so here is some ideas of how to reduce lateral expansion and metabolism problems. And to the person that commented here, I would totally like give you some props, except you're not registered inside. I think it's StreamYard. It gives you, it says, what if you're chubby before the holiday started? Well, let's just use and apply this the same way. So one, get a good night's sleep. If you can't sleep, you can't heal. And we know that lack of sleep is actually a risk factor for metabolism. One, move more. Now, I don't expect anybody to go out and run a marathon or to go on Ironman competition. Like there's some neat things that you can do, especially in the holidays, like park your car farther away. Another idea is like when you go shopping, like do some laps around the store. And I guess if you're an Amazon shopper, do some laps around your house before you actually do the purchase. And the purpose in telling you to move more is life is all about movement. It's so important. And exercise, hobbies, you don't have, it doesn't have to be at the gym. It can be out doing, you know, your chores or doing your hobbies, parking farther away, do laps around the store, because exercise and sleep is a key. And then remember this, I wish I could just drill this into everybody in the holidays here. Your most important person, like you got to have time and parameters and ability to protect yourself at the holiday season. Like you are the most important person in your life. And if you do that, so take some time to take a walk, write in your journal, meditate, pray, listen to some music, play a musical instrument, do some work in the gardening. Like there's no right or wrong way. I've heard so many different things about what people do to de-stress, but like get it on your schedule. And so many times, and I'm not being sexist, but so many times this happens with women that they give to you know, they want everybody to have a present. They give to their husband, they give their kids, they give their church, they give their community. And they're like, you know what? I hate holiday seasons. I just work my butt off, except it's not going away. Like my butt's still there, but I feel like I'm working away. But it's because we don't have parameters. So we got to make sure we get scheduled. I like to say 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. Be really careful with alcohol fuel. Now, what I mean by that is if you get too much alcohol into your system, it decreases your satiation reflex. Now, that's a mouthful, but what that means is there's a food trigger that turns off cravings. Like a perfect example is how many apples can you have or how many oranges can you have before you get sick of, you know, eating anymore? One and a half, maybe two. How many Oreos can you eat? Well, you stop eating when everything's gone, right? So the food engineers have engineered the way to not have a satisfaction reflex. And alcohol really decreases that. So then when there's something good going around and you've got too much alcohol going on, it makes it really hard to stay to the cravings. Another one, I really like this one, is about full hands, no room at the end. So little, you know, kind of, I was trying to make a little funny statement about, you know, the time of year, no room at the inn. If you have a plate of healthy food, then when either the server comes around or you head over to the chocolate and the bacon wrapped steak tips or anything like that. You already have stuff in there. So one of the things I recommend when you go to the party, like get a plate of healthy food, so some nuts or some vegetables and some stuff that is already there. So you have full hands so that you can't get any more. The other thing is to have a plan, at the holiday parties or the holiday gets together. If you're hosting it, like you control the narrative, right? So you can say, look, either I'm not going to make a bunch of sweets or I'm not going to have sweets. By the way, that might get rid of some of the people that are, sugar addicts that in your life. And of course, I'm saying a joke when I say that, but you control the narrative. If you're going to someone's place or party, like there's nothing wrong saying what it's going to be there so that what is going to be served so that you can get ahead of the game here and have the shoulder angel. Now, what I mean by the shoulder angel is this. We have a devil on this side and an angel on this side. And most of the time, the devil wins. And you know what the devil's saying is, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not successful enough. I'm not handsome. I'm overweight. Like we are our own worst critic. So this guy's just hammering us. And the angel over here is saying, hey, I'm worthy of love. I give and receive love. I've enough in the world. I am, doing my thing or living my life. It's like 400 here and 40,000 here. So when you know what's being prepared and some other things, like you can get ahead of the shoulder angel, and then you can do some positive self-talk, which helps with the emotions. I'm enough. I can get through this tough situation. Before you leave, you want to make sure that you're prepared for the event and that during the party, you have that inner pep talk. I can handle this. I got a plan. I'll enjoy everything else too. Make sure that you are taking breaks, whether it's your party or someone else's party. You got to take a little mini breaks, whether it's just mental meditation, where it's like, you know what, here life is about relationships and life is about self-talk and self-love and so many different things that I'm learning over the 49 years that I've been on the earth. And it's not always about give, give, give. It's also giving us healthy parameters for doing that. So what I'm doing is I'm just pulling stuff out of the book that I put together. It's natural treatments for metabolism and how to not gain weight over the holidays and be like 99% of Americans, because 99% of them say, you know what? I'm going to live it up through the holidays. And guess what? The number one New Year's resolution is I got to get my metabolism put together. I got to go to the gym. I've got to do some more exercise. The gyms literally sell more memberships in January than they do the rest of the year. And what happens is people will go for a couple days, maybe not even go for all. And then they're like, you know what? I got a gym membership though. Like it's my intention to do this. And so if we can get ahead of this a little bit and do some pre-work, that's why I decided to do this presentation at the beginning of December and not in the middle of the holidays, because I got to get it out for people to say, look, we've got to do some self prep on this. Okay. Now, if you feel like you're starting to lose control over the holidays or at a get together, that's when we go back and we're like, you know what? We want to have some healthy and alive food. And so many times, two things that really help to do with cravings. One, if you're at mom's house, or in my case, I'm going to go to my mom's house. I know there's going to be caramel cinnamon rolls there. If I drink a full glass of water before I start, it takes up room and I don't eat as many cinnamon rolls. The other thing is that if I eat some healthy food before I go there, then what happens is it takes away the ability to get to the satisfaction reset. Okay. And so what that means is that's the time where we can get stuff in our stomach system to shut off the cravings. Now, one of the things that's really fascinating about cravings is this. The reason why we get so many sugar cravings for chocolate, for cinnamon rolls, for rolls, for carbs, for hard candies is because we need energy. We're missing something. And so one of the perfect ways to really help, one of the best ways to really help with cravings is to load the body with the stuff that we don't need a crutch. Essential fatty acids, the 8 essential amino acids. I'm going to talk about that coming up in just a little bit, and making sure that we have the vitamins and minerals in the system. When we have that, what occurs is sugar becomes less addictive. Even though it's the most addictive substance that we're aware of, it becomes less addictive if we have that stuff inside of our system. So what is that? That's raw nuts. That's healthy and alive plant material. If it comes out of a box or wrapper of a can, it's not as good as having all of the stuff that really is meant for us to subsist on. Anything that is touched by man a whole bunch, it's not as good as if it comes out of the ground. What I mean by that, like if you pull a carrot out of the ground, it's pretty good for you. You wash it off down the hatch. If you turn that carrot into carrot cake, now we have a bunch of empty calories. And what is that? That's carbs, and that's the body's ability or the body's tendency to store up energy before we can use it. So back to our book, our evaluation. If you're having a hard time over the holidays and you're eating the foods that you aren't supposed to eat, okay, just get back on the wagon, right? Rome wasn't conquered in one day. And if you are doing good, I want you to really celebrate and say, this is what, I'm making progress on it. Okay. So you reshape your mind and your eating behavior will follow. Most of the time, when I've been consulting with patients for the last 2 decades, so many times people know what to do. They just need a nudge to do it. Like most of the time when people come in and I'll say, well, what are you drinking? And they'll say, well, I drink a little bit of water and some other stuff. I'm like, well, what is the other stuff? Well, the other stuff is acid. Now they don't say acid because that's my terminology. Acid is when you take literally a sugar and you put carbon dioxide through it. It turns into carbon dioxide, and it's this drink called soda. And what does soda do? Like we put acid into an acidic stomach, and then what do we have? We have to get minerals from the body and the muscles to balance out the acid, and it sets up this vicious cycle. It depletes our energy, and then what do? We need more acid. And then they put caffeine, and then they put in the wrong kind of amino acids and the artificial sweeteners. It's this vicious cycle. So natural treatments for metabolism, one of the things is to make sure that you get all that stuff inside of your system. And I love this. Here it is. It says tips to help you avoid overeating during the holidays. So health is a continual commitment. Drink lots of water. A lot of times people say, well, I don't like water. Well, it's the best thing that you can do for metabolism. The other thing is to eat slowly and to chew your food. Now, I have a tendency to chew my food, not enough. I mean, I'm really important for me to hear this. But if you chew your food and eat slower, you know what happens is it gives your body a chance to catch up so that you shut off when you're supposed to. So I really like that recommendation. Here's a couple. Here's the 5 steps that I'd really like to share with people on about metabolism. And to the person that tuned in and said, "What do you do? What do you do if you're chubby before you start?" So here's a couple recommendations for this. Number one, get your body on a schedule. It's like a broken record. I say this every time. Go to bed at the same time, get up at the same time, try and eat the same. If you are a normal college student, a teenager, like I'm not trying to ruin your life and turn you into someone that's no fun. What you want to do is to try and get up at the same time. I think that's important when people are like, hey, I want to go out on the weekend and have fun. Great. That you should go do that. Get up at the same time and try and repay your sleep deficit with a nap. The next thing is to move. Okay, commit to do that. Eat a healthy breakfast. I skipped one. Healthy fats are one of the best ways to shut off cravings. So tuna, avocados, nuts, flaxseed. I also would include in that chicken noodle soup or stew where you get all the fats, the animal lard that helps to insulate the nerves and protect the brain. And then eat a healthy breakfast and then eat healthy snacks through the day. Don't put your body into a situation where it's starving and it's thinking, okay, there's no water as I go across the desert, so I better fill everything up. And this is what happens so many times when people struggle with metabolism. And I'll ask them, tell me about the day of your life. And they're like, hey, my biggest meal is at the end of the day. Well, we're just setting our body up for storing everything. And so we want to basically tell the body, look, we're not going to put you into a famine situation. So if you eat healthy snacks consistently, which is raw fruits and vegetables, I really like certain types of raw nuts, not roasted and chocolate covered nuts. I think those are good places. Any type of fermented food. I think natural yogurt's really good. Pickle juice is where Gatorade came from for minerals and stuff like that. Okay, going back and looking at the book, here are some important medical treatments for metabolism. Getting your body on a schedule, eat healthy, recognize that there are triggers. Don't be your worst enemy. Don't beat up on yourself. And it's all about energy. Now, when we look at people inside of the office, and I really like to be able to share this with you, is the reason why people have metabolism problems is they're always missing something. They're missing a mineral, they're missing a vitamin, and frequently their hormones are imbalanced. So I just put together some recommended tests that are really good to get you a profile It's more easy. I don't know. That's terrible grammar. It's easier to help people when we have a baseline before the holidays. I really like doing tests before the holidays instead of starting in January. So, a complete blood cell count, a thyroid panel, total iron, a cholesterol panel. So, make sure you're fasting and get your body at balance is the best way to help your metabolism. Hardly anyone is consistently testing hormones. And I think if your hormones are off, you can have a dream about chocolate chip cookies or cheesecake. And you know what happens is you'll gain weight. So those hormone pathways, whether it's an imbalance of too much estrogen or not enough progesterone, or if your cortisol is imbalanced, or just as important is your DHES, which is a kidney hormone or adrenal hormone that comes from on top of the kidneys and it regulates energy. If those are off, like you're just not going to be healthy. So, some important weight loss considerations. One is getting healthy vitamins and minerals in your system is a must. Your knife and fork is your most important source of vitamins and minerals. What you are eating, like whole foods, is totally the recommended. I like using supplements as food insurance. Like if I'm missing something, I'll supplement with it. And, I read about things about alpha lipoic acid and phosphatidylcholine and phosphatidylserine and all the essential amino acids that are coding for proteins. And so I have a closet full of supplements. So I'm probably like most people listening to this because I don't want to miss anything. But at the end of the day, the healthier you eat and the healthier and alive your food is, the healthier and alive you are. I think supplementing with essential fatty acids, when it's fish oil, avocados, evening primrose oil, flaxseed oil, when you put all of that together and putting some astaxanthin in, I think that's the best way to control sugar cravings or fats. And I keep saying this, healthy fats, not French fry fats, not saturated fatty acids. You want healthy and alive fats, and then a complete protein program. So that's a real quick program. We're going to have to repeat this because I haven't even touched all of the neat things that are inside of our program. For example, if we talk about, amino acids, tyrosine and tryptophan, magnesium and zinc, there's some herbs called banana and bacopa and coleus and bitter lemon. All of these are so good for metabolism and weight loss. And so I'm going to have to do this next week. We're going to do part 2 of metabolism. I'm going to go through all of the things because had to deal with emotions and getting your body balanced in energy. And now we've got some other things, Tonkat, Eli, mucuna. And I love this hormone precursor called pregnenolone because it's so healthy to give your body building blocks so that you can make your own hormones. I don't like when people come in and sometimes there's no other option, but so many times people get overprescribed hormones. And then what happens is their body stops making the hormones like it's supposed to because they literally say, well, I don't have to do any work because I'm getting it from the outside. So we're going to go up those in detail. I put some recommendations for what you could do for your metabolism and how you could control blood sugar and my favorite energy formula and why minerals are so important. Those are right underneath the book inside drjasonwest.live. There's also ability where we can custom formulate it into one thing, but I'm running out of time. So we're going to come back and we're going to pick up how to not expand laterally and herbs for weight loss, a part 2 of our program next Wednesday. That'll be the 8th of December. And it was fun to put this together because I needed to write this so that I stay away from caramel cinnamon rolls this holiday season. No one wants to listen to a fat doctor, and it's time to follow my own advice. That's our program for tonight, you guys. If you want to work closer with us, you can go to westcliniconline.com. You can go to the top where it says new patient information. Excuse me. And we will help you. We write treatment plans for people inside the office and across the country. We always do a podcast every Wednesday night. We call it our masterclass Wednesday night. Then we go into a special program. It's called the Thrivers program, where we actually do additional virtual office visits and consults with the people that are inside of our Thrivers program. We do a customized formulation for a year. They get a 10% off and a ride-along coupon. There's so many neat things that you can do inside of the Thrivers. Excuse me. I got a little bit of a nut that stuck in my seat. I had a handful of nuts before I started, and now coughing. Okay, that's our program for tonight. Next week, part 2, holiday metabolism, what herbs, and then there's also a special like protocol for hormone precursors that help with weight loss. I'm Dr. Jason West. It's tips for natural treatments for metabolism, part 1. Part 2 is next week. That's our program for tonight. We'll see you on the next free masterclass.